Welcome to the session matrix space, open and closed sets. In Euclidean space R square, the distance between 2 points x1, y1 and x2, y2 is defined to be square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. The distance between two finite subsets of R square, A and B, can be defined as maximum of modulus of A minus B, where A belongs to the set A and B belongs to the set B. Generally, if we are given a set X, we can define the distance between two elements in X. Definition 1.1. For a set X more than one element, suppose there is a function D which maps X cross X to R plus union 0 and satisfy the following three properties. For x, y and z belongs to X, d of x, y greater than or equal to 0 and d of x, y is equal to 0 if and only if x equal to y. D of x, y is equal to d of y x and d of x, y less than or equal to d of x, z plus d of y, z, that is the triangle inequality. Then the pair x d is called a metric space and d is called distance function or metric. Examples: A. For x, y belongs to R, define d of x, y is equal to modulus of x minus y. Then R together with d is a metric space. In general, for x equal to x1, x2, etc. xn and y equal to y1, y2, etc. yn belongs to Rn, define d of x, y is equal to square root of x1 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square plus etc. plus xn minus yn whole square. Then Rn together with d is a metric space. As this d is usually used, we called it the usual metric. For xy belongs to Rn, define d of xy is equal to maximum of modulus of xi minus yi, where 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to n. Then Rn together with d is a metric space. C. Let x be the set of all continuous function on closed interval 0, 1. Define d of fg is equal to integral 0 to 1 modulus of f of x minus g of x dx for f comma g belongs to x. Then the pair x d is a metric space. For this x, we can define d dash f g is equal to maximum of modulus of f of x minus g of x, where x belongs to the closed interval 0, 1. Then x together with d dash is also a metric space. D. Define d of x y is equal to 0 if x equal to y and otherwise 1 in x. Then x d is a metric space. D here is called the discrete metric. It may be easily verified all the three properties of the above examples. We also see that for a set we can have more than a metric. Definition 1.2. In the metric space x d, we said a sequence xn converges to x denoted by xn converges to x if for every epsilon greater than 0 there exists an integer k such that n greater than k implies d of xn x less than epsilon. Theorem 1.3. If xn converges to x and y in xd, then x is equal to y. Proof. For epsilon greater than 0, there exists k such that n greater than k implies d of xn x less than epsilon by 2 and d of xn y less than epsilon by 2. Then d of xy is less than or equal to d of x xn plus d of y xn less than epsilon. Since epsilon is arbitrary, we have d of xy is equal to 0, hence x is equal to y. From this, we know a convergent sequence has a unique limit. Theorem 1.4. Suppose Dn is a sequence of metric of x. If for every xy belongs to x, Dn xy is bounded and d of xy is equal to limit supremum of dn xy not equal to 0 for x not equal to y, then D is a metric on X. Proof. The first two properties of D are trivial. To see the triangle inequality, note that for xy and z belongs to X, limit supremum dn xy is less than or equal to limit supremum dn xz plus dn zy, which is less than or equal to limit supremum of dn xz plus limit supremum of dn yz. This establishes the triangle inequality for D. Corollary. Suppose Dn is a sequence of metric of x and D of xy is equal to limit Dn xy exists for all xy belongs to x and non-zero for x not equal to y. Then D is a metric of x. Proof. This follows easily from the above theorem on point 4. Theorem on point 5. Suppose xn converges to x in the metric space xd. Then for epsilon greater than 0, there exists an integer n such that for n greater than n, D of xn xm less than epsilon. Proof. Pick epsilon greater than 0 and choose n so that for n greater than n, D of xn x less than epsilon by 2. Then for nm greater than n, D of xm xn less than or equal to D of xm x plus D of xn x less than epsilon. Pseudo metric space. In the three axioms of a metric space, if we replace the first axiom by the weaker condition, that is, for any point xy belongs to x, D of xy greater than or equal to 0 and D of xs equal to 0, then the pair xd is called a pseudo metric space. Open sets. We have open intervals on the real line. Let us generalize this concept in metric space. In the entire session, we always assume xd is a metric space. Definition 2.1. For x belongs to x, define BD xr is equal to set of all y belongs to x such that D of xy less than r. BD xr is called an open ball centered at x with radius r. Any open ball centered at x is called a neighborhood of x. Definition 2.2. For a subset S of x, define the interior of S denoted by int S to be the set of points which have a neighborhood lying inside S. To be precise, x belongs to interior S if and only if there exists r greater than 0 such that BD xr is a subset of S. Examples. A. The open interval on 3 in R is an open ball centered at 2 with radius 1. Indeed, every open interval is an open ball. B. Set of all xy such that x square plus y square less than 1 is an open ball centered at the origin with radius 1. C. Interior of closed interval on 2 is equal to open interval on 2, which is equal to interior of right open interval on 2, which is equal to interior of left open interval on 2, which is equal to interior of open interval on 2. The interior of the set of integer is the empty set. A set S is said to be open if interior of S is equal to S, or equivalently, for every x belongs to S, there exists r greater than 0 such that BD xr is a subset of S. Examples. A. Every open ball is an open set. B. The interior of any set is open. C. Let x is equal to C of closed interval 0 1 and D of fg is equal to maximum of modulus of f of x minus g of x, where x belongs to closed interval 0 1. Then set of all f belongs to x such that f greater than 0 is an open set. D. In a metric space with discrete metric, every element is an open set. Theorem 2.4. First one. the null set phi and the whole set X are open. Second one, any union of open sets may be uncountable union is open. Third one, finite intersection of open sets is open. Proof. First one, it is trivial from the definition of open set. Second one, let S is equal to union S alpha where S alpha is open. Here we use alpha to indicate that the union may not be countable. For X belongs to S, X also belongs to S alpha for some alpha. Then X has a neighborhood lying in S alpha, hence lying in S. This completes the proof. Third one, let S is equal to intersection Si where I varies from 1 to n, where Si is open. For X belongs to S, X also belongs to Si, and hence there exists Ri such that B dx Ri subset of Si for 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to n. Take R is equal to minimum of Ri which is greater than 0, then B dx Ri subset of Si for all I, hence a subset of S. This completes the proof. Remark: in topology course, we encounter sets without metric. Then we define open sets according to the 3 properties in theorem 2.4. Definition 2.5. Suppose f is a function from x to y with metric dx and dy respectively. F is said to be continuous at x in x if for any epsilon greater than 0 there exists delta greater than 0 such that dx xy less than delta implies dy f of x comma f of y less than epsilon. This definition is analog to what we have learned about continuity in a real analysis course. Theorem 2.6. F from x to y is continuous at x if and only if f of xn converges to f of x for any xn converges to x. Proof. Suppose f is continuous at x and take xn converges to x. Then for epsilon greater than 0, there exists delta greater than 0 such that dx xy less than delta implies dy f of x f of y less than epsilon. Now we take n such that n greater than n implies dx x xn less than delta and hence dy f of x f of xn less than epsilon. Conversely, assume f is not continuous at x. Then there is epsilon greater than 0 such that for each n we can have xn such that dx of xn x less than 1 by n, but dy of f of x f of xn greater than or equal to epsilon. Now xn converges to x, but f of xn does not converge to f of x, a contradiction. This theorem is an analog to the sequential continuity theorem in the first real analysis course. The two proofs need exactly the same idea, except that the absolute sign is generalized to the metric. However, the following theorem may not be appeared so familiar. Theorem 2.7. F from x to y is continuous at every point of x if and only if f dash u is open for any open set u in y. Recall that f dash u is equal to set of all x such that f of x belongs to u. Proof. Suppose f is continuous at every point of x. For an open set u and x belongs to f dash u, there exists epsilon greater than 0 such that b dy of f of x epsilon is subset of u. The continuity at x shows there exists delta greater than 0 such that f of b d of x delta is subset of b dy of f of x epsilon, which is subset of u. This shows that b d of x delta subset of f dash u, and hence f dash u is open. Conversely, for x belongs to x and epsilon greater than 0, f inverse of b dy of f of x epsilon is open. Hence, there exists delta greater than 0 such that b dx of x delta is subset of f inverse of b dy of f of x epsilon. Hence, we get the continuity of f at x. Remark: in topology course, for x and y without metric, the definition of continuity bases on open set, which is motivated by theorem 2.6. We define f from x to y to be continuous if f dash u is open for any open set u in y. Closed sets. As expected, it is now time for the closed sets to take turn. Closed sets indeed have a lot to do with open sets. Definition 3.1. A point x is said to be the limit point of a set S if there exists a sequence xn which converges to x where xn element of S and xn not equal to x. Examples: A. Write open interval 0, 1 in R has limit point 0 and 1. B. Set of all xy such that x square plus y square less than 1 in R2 with usual metric has limit points set of all xy such that x square plus y square is equal to 1. C. The limit point of the integer set is the empty set. D. The limit points of the rational number in R are the whole real line. Theorem 3.2. A point x is said to be a limit point of the set S if and only if for any open set U containing x, U also contains y belongs to S and y not equal to x. Remark: in the proof, we write Bxr instead of Bdxr as there is no confusion of the metric. We would include the subscript d in Bdxr only when we need to specify which metric are being used in later text. Proof: suppose x is a limit point of S. For an open set U which contains x, we have R greater than 0 such that Bxr is subset of U. Since from the hypothesis there is a sequence xn in S converging to x, there exists for some m xm not equal to x and xm element of Bxr. This y equal to xm is the point we want. Conversely, for every n, B of x 1 by n contains xn not equal to x and xn element of S. This xn converges to x, which shows x is a limit point of S. Remark: by this theorem, we can define limit points by open sets. This is the way we handle limit points in topology course. Definition 3.3. The set S is said to be closed if S contains all its limit points. Examples: A. All closed intervals in R are closed sets. B. Set of all xy such that x square plus y square less than or equal to 1 in R2 with usual metric is closed. C. Any set consists of finite points is closed. Up to now, we still do not see clearly how closed sets are related to open sets. The following theorem tells. Theorem 3.4. S is closed if and only if x difference S, that is the complement of S, is open. Proof: if S is closed, take x in its complement, then x is not a limit point to S. Hence, there is a neighborhood of x lying outside S. This shows x difference S is open. Conversely, let x be a limit point of S. Then for any open ball containing x intersects S, hence x is not an interior point of x difference S and x belongs to S. This shows S is closed. Equivalently, S is open if and only if X difference S, that is the complement of S, is closed. Therefore, we can define closed sets by open sets. Theorem 3.5, compared theorem to theorem 2.4. First one, the null set phi and the whole set X are closed. Second one, any intersection of closed sets may be uncountable union is closed. Third one, finite union of closed sets is closed. Proof. First one, it is trivial. Second, let F is equal to intersection F alpha where F alpha is closed. Write F alpha is equal to X difference U alpha where U alpha is open. Then F is equal to intersection X difference U alpha is closed by theorem 2.4 and 3.4. Third one follows exactly the same way. F is equal to union Fi where I varies from 1 to n, which is equal to intersection X difference Ui where I varies from 1 to n, which is closed. Parallel to theorem 2.6, we have the same relation between continuity and closed sets. Theorem 3.6, F from X to Y is continuous at every point of X if and only if F dash of F is closed for any closed set F in Y. Proof. By theorem 2.6, we have for any closed set F, F is continuous on X if and only if F dash of Y difference F is equal to X difference F dash of F is open if and only if F dash of F is closed. Definition 3.7. For a set S, define the closure of S denoted by S bar to be the union of S and limit points of S. It may not be so clear that for any set S, S closure is a closed set which contains S. Indeed, from the next theorem, S closure is the smallest closed set containing S. Theorem 3.8. For the set S, define C is equal to set of all F such that F is closed and contains S, a collection of closed sets. Then S closure is contained in intersection F where F in C, the intersection of all elements of C. Proof. First, it is easy to see S closure is a subset of the closed set intersection F where F in C. If X is a limit point of S, X is a limit point of F and hence in F. This shows S closure is contained in intersection F where F in C. Suppose there is a point Y in intersection F where F in C but not in S closure. Then there exists R greater than 0 such that B of Y comma R lies in the complement of S. Note that the closed set X difference B of Y R contains S is in the collection C. Since X difference B of Y R does not contain Y, so as intersection F, F in C, which yields a contradiction. Therefore, intersection F is contained in S closure. The proof is completed. Corollary. S is closed if and only if S closure is equal to S. Proof. Obviously, S is subset of S closure. If S is closed, then S is in the collection C. Hence, S closure is equal to intersection F, where F in C is equal to S. The converse is trivial. From the above, we see that for any closed F containing S, S is a subset of F. S is the smallest in this sense. Now, you can try to answer these questions. First one, if D1 and D2 are matrix of X, is it true that D1 plus D2, D1 minus D2, D1 star D2 and root of D1 are matrix of X? Second one, suppose Dn is a sequence of matrix of X. Show that there exists a matrix D bounded by 1 such that the convergent sequence in XD is a convergent in each XDn. Third one, give an example that the identity map of a set X onto itself is not continuous. Fourth one, does there exists a matrix D on X such that any mapping from x to y is continuous on x. Fifth one, show that for any function f on R, the set of all x such that f is continuous at x is the countable intersection of open set. Sixth one, what is the closure of the rational numbers in R? Seventh one, f is closed in x if and only if there is a continuous function f from x to R such that f dash of 0 is equal to f. If f and h are two disjoint sets where f and h are closed, show that there exists two disjoint open sets which contains f and h respectively. Hope that you have enjoyed this session. We will meet again with another topic. Thank you for watching the program.